fam, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Kay and we talk about embroidery, business, homeschooling, life, all kinds of stuff around here. Today we're going to be learning how to applique, but before we do that, please hit that like, subscribe button, the notification bell, click all so that you can get notified of videos of all the shenanigans that goes on around here. All right, today I'm going to do a new design that I created a couple of hours ago. It has one simple applique to it, and we're gonna go through it step by step. So here is our lovely PE800. I already have set up the sample fabric on the hoop. You can see that in another video. If you don't know how to do it, it's pretty simple. This is the design as I make the camera crooked. This is the design we are doing. The K is for kindergarten. We're going to put an applique right there in the middle of that there K. So I'm going to turn the phone around to the machine. I'm going to lower you guys. Whoops. I'm going to lower you guys so that you can see clearly what the machine is doing. And then I will show you how to applique. Before I do that though, actually, hang on. I take that back. Let's just do this in one fell swoop. I usually don't do it in this order, but it would probably be better to do it in this order so that we could just go straight into it. Okay, so when you are doing an applique, basically what an applique is when you have a design, you put a piece of fabric within the design, you embroider in that design, you embroider the fabric into the design, if that makes any sense. So we are going to embroider a K. We're going to stitch out a K on this fabric, and inside that K we will have this cute fabric, she's upside down, that I found today inside of it, and then it will do a satin stitch around the edges, and the K will be this. So before you get to the applique process, you could do this in one of two ways. I tend to do it as I go along, but if you want to be more efficient, you can do this prior to starting your design. So what you want is to cut out your fabric. You want to cut out a piece of heat and bond that is heat and bond light, this fabulous stuff right here. I just realized I was at Joann and was supposed to be looking for something and forgot about it until just now. All right, so you want heat and bond light. You don't want to get anything other than heat and bond light. I usually do this in the process of, because I don't like to waste fabric, so I like the machine to stitch out the design first, and then I can gauge how big of a piece of fabric I need. But for the sake of time, I went ahead and just cut out a piece of fabric, excuse me, and cut out the heat and bond. Okay, heat and bond looks like this on one side, nice and smooth, right? On the other side, if you can see with the light, it's a little, has little ridges, it's a little shiny. I want the ridges side to be against the back side of your fabric. See that? Front side of my fabric, back side of my heat and bond is nice and smooth, because this ridge side is the glue. Okay, so that glue needs to be on the fabric. It needs to stick to the fabric. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna stick this puppy in the heat press, and then we're gonna take it out, and then we're gonna rip the backing off, and then I'll show you what to do next. You can actually use an iron, but I have the heat press here, so why not use the heat press? Please excuse the mess over here. I am putting up shelves to make this space a lot more organized and turn it into my dream space in this house, that is. Okay, so heat and bond is on the bottom, fabric is on the top. I've seen some people do it the other way around. I really don't know if it makes a difference or not, but nonetheless, we're going to do it like this because I always make sure, I mean, I think the reason why some people do it the other way around where the heat and bond is on the top, outside of the fact that you want it to get the heat, I think they also do it because you don't want that sticky glue to end up on your heat press. Yes, but I always make sure that I cut my fabric a tiny bit bigger than the heat and bond so that I don't have that issue. All right, we're going to put this on top. Clamp her down. You got to have muscles with this heat press because this heat press sometimes is hard to close. I'm going to leave it in there for 30 seconds. I don't have to, but I'll do it anyway because then I don't have to worry about whether or not it actually heated up enough to stick to the fabric. Shadow, go lay down. You guys can't see, but Shadow is right there. All right, this is hot. So I like to do a little fanny fan. Say hello, Shadow. Right, you get all excited because you know there's a camera. Now go lay down. Get out of the office, please. I don't want you in here. Okay, so it's nice and cool now. I can touch it. I'm not about to burn myself, and you guys hear me screaming. Lay down, Shadow. You grab a piece right here. See that? Now, if you look, if you can see, now it's shiny on the back. That means that the glue is now on the back of your fabric. And the reason why we use the heat and bond is because now, if you notice, the fabric is pretty stiff. So when we go to stitch over it and everything, it'll be a nice stiff piece of fabric. It won't bubble up underneath the stitching. Yeah. Okay, now what I should have done and didn't think about until just about now is I have this design set up to stitch out the name first. And this video is not about getting names stitched on fabric. So I am going to go ahead and set the machine up for it to stitch out the name. I will leave the camera on for you to watch it, but I'm going to put it in fast mode so that you don't have to sit forever watching it stitch the name. And then when it's ready for the applique, I will be back to show you what you're going to do next with the applique. Okay, so now I'm going to rethread the machine because now we're about to do the applique. So, sorry, I'm banging into you guys. Just really trying not to have to move you because you're pretty much in a good spot. Okay, so what's going to happen first is the machine is going to stitch out the K. Okay, so that's the stitch out. So now we know exactly, I'm making sure you guys can see. Yes, okay, now we know exactly where the K goes. I'm gonna pull this thread just a little bit. Okay, so we know where the K goes. We take our heat and bond fabric and we lay it on top of the K where we want it. I, again, don't like to waste fabric, although this piece of fabric is huge, way too big. But with that being said, I will line it up a little bit past the actual edge. So it hangs over the edge, but not by a lot. So there's not a lot of fabric being wasted, but it's in a good spot so that it gets all of the fabric. Okay, so you just lay it on there, press the button. Okay, and now for the fun part. Now, you may be asking, Kay, why did you have your little hands all over the fabric? It's not a necessity, but I do that when I see that it looks like the fabric isn't straight, or flat rather. All right, we're gonna grab these guys right here. I have my other ones, but I have like 3 different kinds of scissors that I use. These amazing guys right here. These, I use these when it's really teeny tiny spots. And then these with the curve. I love them all. They're all amazing. It just depends on my mood and what I'm trying to do. Well, let's see if, no, I better use the little ones instead. I'm gonna use the little ones on this because I can see better. And all you're gonna do, sorry, I meant to lean you down like this. All you're gonna do, if you look, I probably should have used a different color to make it a little bit easier, but if you look carefully right here, like the stitching of the K, you're gonna cut the fabric out along the stitching. You're gonna get as close to the stitching as possible without cutting on the stitch. You don't want to cut on the stitches. Cutting on the stitches would be bad. Okay, I'm going to lift this up so you can kind of see what I'm doing. And this is super awkward to be doing it this way, but hey, I have to do what I have to do in this room. The great thing about these scissors is they get really close. So I'm just going to cut along the K to cut all the excess fabric off. And then when I'm done, we will put it back in the machine. Now, if you were using HTV instead, which you very well can do, you can use HTV in place of fabric and for your design. And what you would do with that, typically you could just rip that off. Now I do try to cut it a little bit to be on the safe side, because if you just rip too hard, then of course you're going to mess up something, pull out a stitch or what have you. But in theory, and most of the time in reality, you can simply pull the HTV and it will come tear right off. Okay, I know that my hand is in the way. You guys can't see too well. Doing the best that I can here, but ultimately, oops, you get the idea. I'm cutting out the K. Tight squeeze. Almost there. There you go. Now the K is cut out. We're going to take this and put it back on the machine. And now we're going to go to step 3. Let me push you closer again. All right. Now the rest is up to the machine. And there you go. That's it, you guys. That's how I'm going to lift you up. And that's it. That's how you do an applique on any machine, actually. It's the same steps, but that's what our K looks like. I'm going to go ahead and finish up this design, and I'm going to let you guys go. So before you say goodbye, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, the notification bell, hit all so that you can get notified about all the shenanigans that goes on around here. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.